Xbox announces another showcase on top of the June 12th event. Jeff Keighley talks about Summer Games Fest and what expectations we should have. We got a massive Xbox Game Pass potential announcement that seemingly has been leaked. We have some more information about Fable's development and a huge milestone for Forza Horizon 5. So it's the biggest week of the year for gaming in terms of reveals and showcases. We have stuff all week. June 8th is the Call of Duty reveal. There's Summer Games Fest this week. There's a bunch of other shows in between. And then there is the Xbox and Bethesda showcase to top it all off on June 12th. Now, we got some more great information if you love showcases and you want to just see more stuff that Xbox and Bethesda has. And that is there will be another Xbox showcase just 2 days later on June 14th. So they put out this Xbox Wire post explaining how the showcase is going to work, when it is, where you can watch it, all of the stuff you need to know if you have questions about the show. One of the things that is very important, as with most of these showcases when they are live streamed, is that they are in 1080p 60 FPS. So if you want the best production, the best visual representation of what these games are going to look like, you will have to watch the rebroadcast after, which will be in 4K at 60 FPS. But they go down here and the question is asked, will there be an extended show? And Xbox is confirming here, saying yes, stay tuned for the Xbox Games Showcase Extended on June 14th at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, where we will share new trailers, take deeper looks at the news from the Xbox and Bethesda Game Showcase, and speak with some of your favorite game creators. The show will be approximately 90 minutes in length and will be broadcasted in various languages. So very exciting stuff for a couple of reasons. One, there may be just some quick trailers within the original show on June 12th, and we're most likely going to see the deeper dive gameplay into these games on June 14th. And they also hear there will be new stuff that they are going to be announcing. I like how they have this extended showcase because the original showcase, that's going to be the hype showcase where you get excited for all of the stuff that is to come. And we know people want to see gameplay. So maybe Xbox is thinking, we can't have all of the gameplay in that original showcase. It just will be way too long. So let's get people excited. Let's show off the games that are coming. Let's have these smaller trailers to get people talking. And then on June 14th, we can dive deeper with another 90 minutes into those games that didn't get the gameplay within the June 12th show. So lots to be excited here. Make sure to tune into the channel as I will be streaming these events and we can just look at all the stuff together, hang out, and have a good time. Now, jumping over here to Summer Games Fest in general, Jeff Keighley talked about the show that is going to be upcoming on June 9th. And he talks about expectations, what people should expect to see during Summer Games Fest. Now, first of all, the types of games we will see. He mentions here massive games and independent titles and new teams showing off their projects for the very first time. Also says here that there will be exclusive games from both Xbox and for the Nintendo Switch. But obviously the bigger announcements for Xbox in particular will be at their own showcase. And it is unclear right now whether Nintendo will actually be at Summer Games Fest announcing stuff directly from Nintendo. But he says here, we'd love to have them involved if and when they are ready. So I guess when he's talking about here exclusive stuff for the Nintendo Switch, probably will be some third-party games coming directly to that console. But he also says that there will be none of those big megaton shocks, as he puts it, and people, their expectations to stay in line, stay in check, because some of the rumors that are going around he's seen have been just crazy. You remember some of the big announcements from Summer Games Fest. I mean, the biggest one people do talk about and always bring up is the Elden Ring stuff. Now, Elden Ring, that wasn't the first time we had heard about that game, but that was the first gameplay that we got for Elden Ring, one of the most hyped games in probably the history of video games, and one of the best games and also one of the best selling games ever. So it makes a lot of sense why people's expectations for Summer Games Fest are now so high. But other than that, he continues on here to say, this is really an exciting weekend for me because I get to finally see things we've been talking about to people for months. We've obviously announced a bunch of things since I last talked to you guys in terms of world premieres and announcements that will be at the show. We've talked about the Callisto Protocol, something that we did see at the PlayStation Showcase, which looks absolutely amazing. Continues here to say that will be there. We'll have the first gameplay demo you guys probably saw the trailer for. We're excited to show you that. We'll have the first level playthrough of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 Game looks really incredible, and we're excited to showcase that for you as well on Thursday. That's exciting. I can't wait to see more about Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. We know there is that worldwide reveal on June 8th, so it won't be that first level. They'll have other stuff to show that. So lots of content this week for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. The news here to say we'll have a reveal of some news around Gotham Knights and new footage of the game as well. Cuphead, the delicious last course, is really coming out on June 30th, just over 3 weeks away, and we'll have some new footage and Studio MDHR joining us as well for that. So we have 2 more games here. We will definitely be seeing more of the Cuphead last course and Gotham Knights. Now, Gotham Knights is one of those games when they first initially showed it off, it really was mixed in terms of what people saw and if they enjoyed it or not. I was on the side that after watching the reveal of Gotham Knights, the gameplay, I thought it looked great. I mean, yeah, it looked a little bit clunky here and there. That could have just been the person controlling the game, or maybe that's just stuff that needs to be polished before the game is released. But I'm very excited for Gotham Knights, and hopefully this new footage will solidify how the game is going to end up in terms of how it looks, and take away some of the doubt that people have had so far with Gotham Knights in terms of the combat, because I think there is a ton of potential for this game, so I really do hope it turns out well. Jeff Keighley continues on here to say Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson will be stopping by. If you played the Fortnite Collision event yesterday, like I did, you saw the Foundation in there, which was a ton of fun, so we'll look forward to hearing from him. We'll have a lot more to share this week, some other things we're going to tease in the coming days, and then there will be lots of things we'll save until the show. So more news will be coming out this week, stuff that you know is going to be there. He will announce it, and it'll have the big surprises kept for the actual show itself. We know that Summer Games Fest is being streamed at IMAXs in different parts of the world, so it's going to be a big event in terms of that. People are going to go out and watch. People are going to be streaming it. People are going to be just watching it on their computer and stuff. I will be streaming Summer Games Fest again, so make sure to come by for that. And in terms of the length of the show, they say it's going to be around 1.5 hours to 2 hours. So there is going to be a ton of stuff to show off. Now, one of my things with the Summer Games Fest, with the Video Game Wars, the only thing that is annoying, and I hope with that 1 hour to 2 hour stuff, it isn't that long because there's just a ton of advertisements in it. That takes up usually a lot of these shows. I have a feeling it will be like that, but we'll have to wait and see. I hope most of it is game announcements and reveals. So all in all, Summer Games Fest sounds like it's going to be just a big mix of stuff, like stuff that we've already seen, gameplay for announced games, a couple of new games here and there, independent titles, and just there should be something there for everybody to be able to talk about and get excited for. All right, let's jump over here to Fable and the development of this game. Now, there was stuff earlier in the week and last week about Fable going around with the scoping and people being concerned that they had to cut down the game, they had to change stuff within Fable because of the engine, and all of this kind of got blown out of proportion in terms of just generally how games are developed. They always start off a lot bigger than what they end up, and scoping is a regular thing of game development. We had Amy here from Playground Games, senior producer on Fable, saying, I want to clear something up about scoping. It is a normal, necessary, and healthy part of game development. I can guarantee that every single AAA game you've ever played will have gone through scoping regularly during development. It's intentional. It is to make sure that the games are focused under one clear vision and can get it made in the time they have without killing themselves. Games that haven't been scoped correctly often have delays and crunch. Both we should be aiming to avoid whenever possible. Now, this is something, I mean, we've seen lots of delays. We've seen crunch throughout the industry. Scoping probably is one of the biggest issues there. Cyberpunk 2077, probably one of the most notorious games that if had better scoping, if they would have realized that this is probably a game that shouldn't be coming out on the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 would have had a much better release. But all that being said, Jez Corden commented on Fable's development and had this to say. Scoping isn't necessarily a bad thing, and it just means that the game will be more focused. You have to sort of think, does every game need every single feature that you can imagine? Does Fable need a player housing system? Does it need the ability to fly? Does it need this? Does it need that? I don't think people should be alarmed by the idea of a game having to reduce scope. And Fable in general as a series has been more focused, so I wouldn't be surprised if it isn't the biggest, most hugest world in all of these open world style of RPGs. I wouldn't even be mad about that. I would be okay if it was a more focused product. I think the thing right now with Fable that have people a little bit concerned and could potentially be taken away at the Xbox and Bethesda showcase if they do show something about Fable is that apparently this game has been in the works since 2018. We're 2022, going into 4 years, and I think by now there should be something there for us to see about the upcoming Fable game. And my original thoughts about Fable was that they probably aren't going to be showing it off at this year's show, because unless they have some gameplay, unless they have something that will really blow people away, they do not want to make the same mistake at all that they did with Halo Infinite with that first initial trailer. So if they do show it off, there has to be something there for us to see. I hope there is. I mean, that would really be a huge surprise, I think, for a lot of people. If they did show off some gameplay, it would be such a highlight of the show. This is a game that everybody really wants to see. It's a huge IP within the Xbox Game Studios portfolio. They are rebooting it. It's under Playground Games now. They're using this new engine and all this type of stuff. And we've seen what Playground Games can do in terms of building worlds with Forza Horizon graphically. So Fable has a ton of potential. And I think this is one they need to knock out of the park. This isn't one that they can really fault on. So there's a lot of pressure on Fable. And unless Xbox is ready and they're completely confident that people are going to like what they show off, they probably won't show anything off, but I would love to see it at the Xbox and Bethesda showcase. And moving on here to another Playground Games product, that is Forza Horizon 5, an absolutely just massive success for Xbox Game Studios, and it continues to get better and better as they have now reached 20 million players. Now, this was confirmed on the Hall of Fame leaderboard within the game, and the amount of players at the time of writing this article was at just over 20 million, 12,405 players, which is an absolutely crazy amount of players that have jumped into Forza Horizon 5. And we know this game, right when it came out, huge critical success in terms of how many people played it, how many people bought it. It was the biggest launch ever for Xbox. Attracted 1 million players before it actually came out with that premium edition that allowed early access. And this was a game that released into Xbox Game Pass. And because of the huge launch, people buying the game before it released onto Game Pass, just released out to the public, it grossed between $36 and $79 million before its general release. And then after the first week, it had been played by more than 10 million players, making it the biggest first week in Xbox history. So Forza Horizon 5 is just an absolute success. It continues to be successful. And I think this is a game that really destroys any of those narratives out there that launching a game into Xbox Game Pass day one, a big AAA game, kills the game and it isn't sustainable. Stuff that we've been hearing a lot from PlayStation, from Jim Ryan with the virtuous cycle. You do things like this with Forza Horizon 5. You have 1 million people who purchased this game before the game was even released, before it was even onto Xbox Game Pass. And everyone buying this game knew this game was going to be released day one onto Xbox Game Pass. Even with those big single player titles that don't have the multiplayer aspect, don't have the games as a service aspect where more content is continuously coming to it, similar to Forza Horizon 5. You put a huge, big AAA quality game into a subscription service on day one. You offer a little bit of extra content, such as early access to it before it hits the service. You're going to be able to make a ton of money off of that. And then you're going to have more people actually signing up to the subscription service to play the game, plus still buying this game on other platforms. So this stuff like this is why I really don't buy not being able to put a AAA game into a subscription service on day one and it not making the video game industry sustainable. The amount of money that Forza Horizon 5 is making Xbox is going to be a ton. It's going to help them continue to go ahead with this model of putting their big games into subscription services, into Xbox Game Pass. Also releasing games with the premium edition that if you want to spend the money on it, you're going to get it earlier. And then you think about all the sales on it on Steam, on PC and stuff like that. So very good to see the success of Playground Games and Forza Horizon 5. And hopefully this continues to transfer over to their upcoming games like Fable and to more of the first-party Xbox Game Studios games. All right, and to end things off, to get a little bit more hype for the Xbox and Bethesda showcase, this comes via an original tweet here from Xbox on June 4th saying one thing you can expect from the showcase, and it's a video of everybody saying Xbox and at the end Phil Spencer saying games. And Aaron Greenberg quote tweeting this saying, assume after our show on June 12th, we'll get one of these that says Game Pass, Game Pass, Game Pass, Game Pass, insinuating that we are going to be getting a ton of Game Pass announcements. Has me excited because obviously they're going to be showing off a lot of first-party stuff that we know come into Xbox Game Pass on day one, but I don't think they're going to be able to fill an entire show with just the first-party stuff, meaning I think we're going to also be getting a bunch of indies and a bunch of other third-party games that are going to be shown off and launched into Xbox Game Pass. It's going to be crazy how much stuff they're going to show off. They have 2 shows, as mentioned earlier, with the main one on June 12th and then the extended show on June 14th. And I think that everything's been under wraps so far for the Xbox and Bethesda showcase. They know exactly what they are going to show. Last year, there were a lot of leaks of some of the stuff that we were going to see during the showcase, but it seems like nobody knows anything right now, meaning that I think they're very confident for this show. I think that we're going to get a lot of stuff to get people excited for 2022 before the end of the year, and then going into 2023 and beyond. And I hope that they bring that gameplay, because that's really what people want to see, whether that is at the main showcase or the extended showcase. But it should be a ton of fun. I just can't wait for it to all kick off on June 12th. All right, to end things off here, let's talk about this potential massive announcement from Xbox Game Pass. This comes via Colt Eastwood, and it says here, Madden 23 coming to Game Pass day and date. Game Pass is becoming unbeatable. And he has a screenshot here, Madden 23, and as you can see, included with Xbox Game Pass. This is right from Xbox.com. Now, this isn't something that I've seen Xbox formally announce yet. I'm guessing if this is true, this is going to be a huge announcement at the Xbox and Bethesda showcase. One of those games that gives us more value for 2022, especially without that big first-party Xbox Game Studio release that we know of yet. So this is huge. Whether you like Madden, whether you dislike Madden, it doesn't really matter. This is always one of the most popular games every single year. This will attract a ton of people to sign up to Xbox Game Pass to play it, rather than going out and spending the full price tag on the game, especially with a yearly sports release, which, as you know, can just sometimes be sort of just a roster update every single year. Myself, I used to be a huge Madden fan back on the OG Xbox days and the PS2 days, when the franchise mode was a great time, was so deep. They've really just destroyed the franchise mode. I haven't been into Madden recently, so this announcement in and of itself, for me personally, I am somewhat now excited to try it out, because I'm not going to have to go out and spend the $70, because I believe the actual next-gen versions of these Madden games are $10 more than the regular price of the $60. So I'm excited about that. But at the end of the day, whether you like Madden or not, this is just a massive announcement for the service itself. And we're going to see just what this does for Xbox Game Pass. You think about the future. If they're able to get Madden in this service every single year, plus Call of Duty, that's like the two biggest games every year in terms of sales and the amount of people that play it. And when you always look at the NPD results, it generally is, you got Call of Duty up there, you have Madden just underneath it. So huge announcement. We'll see if this is something that actually is officially announced at the Xbox and Bethesda showcase, or maybe sometime this week. That's it for me, guys. Let me know your thoughts on all of this stuff about the extended showcase, Summer Games Fest, Fable's Development, that big announcement about Madden 23 looking like it's coming day and date to Xbox Game Pass, and the Forza Horizon 5 milestone. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. If you're new here, you liked what you saw, consider hitting that subscribe button. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for your support, and I'll catch you in the next video.